Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to another live beer review here on the Beer Patrol. I'm Average Joe, and what's better than a dual beer review? Maybe it's a trio beer review, baby. So we are once again joined by Lee Russell. They Must Be Destroyed on Sight movie podcast, the now defunct Hoagley Beer Reviews. He joined me for the last review, but we're going to say hello to Lee as well again. Hi, Lee.
I like the channel enough, I decided to stay for a second review.
Yeah, probably not a third one. We'll see, though. We're probably gonna do a third one down the line, but not today. And for the third member,
comparing me to a member?
No, well, yeah, some kind of member. We have from beautiful New Brunswick, Canada.
Canada's picture province.
Yeah, Nick Lowe of Maxwell Starr Beer Reviews. Hi, Nick.
Hi.
Hi. What's going on?
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me on. And it's the first time I've ever been hoodwinked into joining you on your channel, although you've been on mine several times, so thank you. And hi, everybody.
Well, hello. Nick's going to behave himself to a point tonight. To a point. We'll see. It's not the Albino Rhino Beer Fest weekend yet, so he should be well behaved. But anyway, the beer we're going to be reviewing today is actually a beer that all of us have. Thanks to Lee, he sent me a can of this in the beer mail from last week. If you want to check that out, link in the description. And obviously Nick got it too because it showed up in New Brunswick recently. So it is from the Two Crows Brewing Company out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it is their Liesse beer. Now you would think that would say maybe like, when you say Berliner Weiss or Weiss beer, you would maybe say Liesse, but no, it's Liesse. So whatever. It's a Belgian-style table beer. Comes in at 3.5% alcohol by volume and 13 IBUs in a tall boy 473 16-ounce can. And there is not a lot of information about this. I tried to look a little bit up, but just on the back, they're just like, it's citrusy, refreshing, bright, and smooth. That's what they say. That's what it says on their site. That's what it says on Tap. That's what it says on Beer Advocate. So I'm not going to argue with them. But
I like that. I don't want them to give me flavor and tasting notes and all that shit.
No, but maybe like hops or like what they're going for. I mean, obviously it's a Belgian-style table beer, which we'll get into in a second. But ingredients say of barley, oats, hops, water, yeast. Very simple. So you said you don't know a lot about this brewery, Lee, but you know a bit about the style or what they're going for.
Yeah, the brewery, I assume they've only started up in the last couple years because they're pretty much new to the NSLC. I didn't even check these cans when I was for dates, but my one's from the first month of this year, and apparently yours is a bit older. These just showed up in the last couple months at the NSLC. So, but I mean, these aren't hops dependent beers at all, really. So it's not a big deal, and every can I've had has tasted really well. So. But it was a kind of a shocker. Like I hadn't even thought about it, and we mentioned it before we started even recording. It's like, so what's the date on your can? What's the date on your can? Holy bit old.
And Nick has the exact same date on his can that I do, which is what is it? November 28th?
November 28th, 2017. And yeah, just like Lee, they just showed up here in New Brunswick a couple weeks ago. I mean, I wouldn't put past NB Liquor to hold on to the beers for 2-3 months before putting it on the shelf. I know they've done that before, but for something like this, I don't think it's really to worry about.
No, it shouldn't be.
I can attest to that. Belgian-style table beer, it's pretty much a dead style. I mean, it's kind of one of those ones that has been sort of revised by craft beer more than anything else. Traditionally, these were beers that were maybe 1 to 2%. Some of them maybe went up to about 3 to 3.5%, and that's about the cutoff traditionally for these. They could be anything. They're not necessarily like what you think of like saisons and farmhouse beers and stuff like that. Like they're a little different than that. They're kind of like beers instead of for field workers, to rehydrate. These are actually table beers. Put them on the table for your family, kids drinking them with their parents. So a lot of these they could be incredibly light. They could be incredibly dark. A lot of traditional examples of this were super sweet, very malty. Like. Not totally brewed almost. They're almost like just your like malt beverages or whatever you can buy in specialty shops and stuff like that, where they're unalcoholic or whatever almost. They're so sweet because a lot of the sugar hadn't been eaten up by the yeast and stuff. So so of course modern interpretation. So far I haven't heard of any of these being like 7% or whatever.
No.
But
They're not saisoning it up or farmhousing it up.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, these are probably the examples you see of these now in modern brewing are probably as true to what an actual farmhouse ale should be instead of what these are supposed to be. From what I've seen of this style, this one here, spoilers before we even get into it, and other beers of this style that have been revised, most of them sort of do kind of border on farmhouse saison kind of idea for interpretation. So you're not getting like the super dark sweet ones or anything like that, you know. But yeah, that's kind of it for this.
You don't know much about the brewery either, right? Now, Nick, did you do the research that you said you're going to do and see where Two Crows is, or could be bothered?
Actually, let me just do a quick screen share, and I'll show you exactly where they are on a map. This is where Propeller is in Nova Scotia, in Halifax, and this is where Two Crows is. They're literally just a short walk away. Like how far, if you were to walk there? Yeah, 5-minute walk. And the grand picture of things, that's the size of Halifax. Like Garrison's all the way down here at the bottom. So
yeah,
bust out your 3D glasses if you do too, because the logo's 3D basically, more or less. Yeah.
And if you're going to their website and you click on the links, they do the little 3D effect where it kind of like splits off or whatever. It's kind of cool.
Now, have you guys had a table beer outside of this, Lee? Have you ever had? No. How about you, Nick? Ever had an actual table beer?
I don't recall if I ever have. So I'm not sure if I could answer that positively or not.
I had one. It was Westbrook, who does the key lime pie goza that I reviewed. They did one with Evil Twin long ago, because I reviewed it at the Albino Rhino's place. I think it's up on his channel, and it was basically what you expected, and that was my first go. And I think I had a couple more at like Beer Fest, but the style is what it is. It's supposed to be thirst quenching and kind of rehydrate you, and just like you say, put it on a table. Like people know what a table wine is, very similar, but in the beer realm. So crack it open, pour it in, unless you're Lee and you beat us to the punch like you always do.
Based on the description, I kind of expect like a mild farmhouse or mild saison or something.
Yeah, I like crisper, higher carbonation. Clearly, I didn't pour it like an idiot and it has like 3 fingers of head. So, yeah. So that baby, look, hey, baby, you know what this reminds me of? Like a wit beer, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little darker than the alternate reality that we did earlier.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more of like a darker, like orange, almost like a honey vibe going on.
Yeah, it's almost like an orange juice or apricot or something going on.
Yeah, I think apricot's a good way. Yeah, like an apricot juice.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like an off-white head to it.
Yeah, huge head. It's very carbonated. So there you go. Notes. Yeah, I mean, it's citrusy. I definitely get the Belgian yeast. It's not as pungent as you would get in like a Belgian style, like even a wit beer, like not a ton of coriander and stuff, but it has like a nice spiciness to it.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of coriander there. There's something else in there I can't put my finger on, but just nice light spice, like nutmeg or something. I don't know.
A little bit of funk, like a very slight
little funk there. It's very citrusy. It's very like bright orange, acidic orange juice.
Yeah,
like a fresh
juice. I'd say this is definitely sharper than the alternate reality. Like it's definitely got a more sort of striking aroma to it, and it does remind me of a wit beer too.
Yeah,
that's respects.
Between the color and the nose, I kind of like I mentioned coriander, and then or I mentioned not huge coriander, but it has a coriander presence, and it has like you're saying, like acidic orange, Nick. It's very reminiscent of like a lower ABV wit beer.
As it's fading, I'm getting a bit more of grass coming out, and maybe a hint of like brown bread or gingerbread. Maybe not gingerbread, but like a brown bread, kind of like that. What do you expect from like a good Belgian ale?
Yeah. Orange and even like a little bit of like a grapefruit going on too. Like it is definitely a citrus vibe to it. But I would honestly say, like blind, eyes closed, you give this to me, it's like a wit beer, like just a mild wit beer. It doesn't have the overwhelming aroma that a wit beer would have, but it has a lot of those characteristics.
And grapefruit would be a good one to say, because it's starting to turn a little bit sweet as the head dissipates.
Yes. Baby, would it be like grapefruit marmalade that doesn't exist? It might exist. I don't know.
Grapefruit.
Yeah, actually, it does exist.
Does it? Grapefruit marmalade? Okay, that's cool. I just orange, and I think a couple other ones.
Yeah, two people use it. 2 people use
it. All right. Well, you guys want to get into it because it smells pretty good. It does smells inviting. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Ooh.
This one's definitely sharper in its taste as well.
Big carbonation too. Huge carbonation.
Sudsy, soapy.
Definitely lighter in body than the alternate reality, what you would expect with the style.
Lingering citrus tartness.
Yeah, it's watery, but it's 3.5%. Like what I always get, like when people drink session IPAs, they're like 4.2%. They're like, oh man, it's watery. It's sub 5 and it's an IPA. You're not looking for like this big sticky imperial stout body to it and mouthfeel. It's not happening.
I'm getting quite a bit of like a lingering earth or like some kind of yeast, almost like a Brett kind of thing going on in the back.
It's given me, now that we went with the wit beer as the aroma, it's now given me more of a Saison farmhouse in the taste. Bit of funkiness, bit of grassiness, earthiness. Not as citrusy as the nose would indicate it was going to be. It's kind of taking a sharp like 180 and being like, no, now we're over here instead. But it is, I mean, look, this is not like huge on flavor. It's not anything crazy, but they're going for a 3.5% beer, a table beer that anyone can drink and not be offended. And I'm not offended. And that's the way I look at it.
I mean, this is, if you want something like I'm a big fan of session IPAs and IPLs. If you want something a little different from that, like you want a little divergence from that kind of style, you want something a bit more on the tart side, a bit more fruity, maybe just a little bit more exotic, I guess would be the best way to put it. Then this kind of fits the bill. And like I said before, like this really does sort of speak to being more of like a Saison traditional farmhouse beer. Like this is like legit what maybe some of those tasted like back in the day. Like they obviously didn't have the hops and stuff, right? But there's a bit of a how to describe this? There's a bit of a murkiness to this, I'd say. Like it's kind of dirty, like, and you would kind of expect like a traditional farmhouse ale would have whatever they could find to put in it, and it would probably be grainy. It'd probably be kind of muddy. It'd probably be it probably would be sweeter because they wouldn't have the hops to really do anything. So in that sense is a little different, but I think this is what it's weird that this is what more like what a fucking farmhouse Saison should be compared to most of the modern styles you see.
Yeah,
and this is not what a table beer technically really should be. If you go to the traditional way. So apparently,
and that's pretty much what a Saison should be.
Maybe it's an imperial table beer, maybe.
You know what? It's a bit I find it a bit stronger than a Saison, so it's maybe like a bit more farm table, like beer de garde, not beer de garde, but like you get what I'm coming at. It's almost got a very like almost sour, dirty finish in the back.
Yeah. So do we got to wait like until someone starts making an actual table beer, but under a different name?
Yeah. A real table beer, they'll call it. No, I don't know. Oh, so Nick, what are you getting?
What am I getting?
Yeah, what are you getting from this
for score?
What are you getting just in terms of character on the flavor and whatnot?
Well, it's very soapy, very sudsy at the start. I'm getting a little bit of a nice light citrus on the tongue, and then it kind of disappears into the back of the throat with this big, rough, dirty earth finish. That's I'm not sure if I'm really liking, but it is at the very least refreshing to drink because it's nice and light.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of almost there with you. I don't find the finish as like rough and dirty. I do find it extremely earthy, and it's super dry. Like my palate.
That's pretty much what I mean by the earthy. The dirtiness is just that lingering earthiness is just strong.
Yeah,
sharp.
No, it is. It's like, because it's right up front. It's like a nice like grapefruit, orange, even like a lemon thing going on, citrusy on the tip of the tongue, and it almost has like a slight tartness and juiciness all mixed in.
A bit of that grapefruit marmalade thing.
Baby, Trader Joe's pink grapefruit marmalade, baby. I'm gonna do it. We'll do a beer pang, baby. We'll get some of that and some smoked Gouda, baby. It'll be a great time.
That's right.
That's right, baby. Dusty Rose knows no bounds, baby, when it comes to marmalades and cheeses, stinky cheeses mostly. No, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I think as enjoyment, I'm enjoying it because I understand what it's supposed or trying to do. But if you handed this to me blind and was like, here's a beer, what do you think? It's okay for me. It's solid, but knowing what they're going for, it's a little bit better. So like as far as we'll get into the ratings in a second. Let me check the comments. I'm sure we don't have as many as the first one because people don't know what the fuck a Liesse is, I don't think. We have Craig saying, hey, three amigos. Craig, I know you'd show up. I knew you'd come, would Matt Hardy would say in his crazy fucking gimmick. Rainier Parade is cutting onions right now because he says, Lee doing a beer review. Is somebody cutting onions over here? Why are my eyes watering?
Oh, baby.
Baby, I feel emotional right now, baby. It's right in there.
Ooh.
Raj says, yay. Cheers all. Welcome, Ice Cube, to the party. What's up, Rod? And then Stoneyard Vineyards. He's a home brewer. I'm sub too. He does some good stuff. He's actually, I think, in the Western New York area. I think he's, let's say, Southern Buffalo. Let me know, Stoneyard, where exactly you are, because I'm in the North Towns. He says, good job, you guys. You're right on the money. Cheers. Thank you. I'm glad someone thinks we're doing something that's right. Usually not the case, certainly with me. And I know Nick's his palate is terrible, but
shut up.
It's a foreign concept all around.
I know, but we'll go into final thoughts. For me, if I was to rate this to enjoyment, and again, this is my enjoyment without taking into consideration the style and what they're going for, just my personal palate, probably 3.25, honestly, out of 5. Like, I don't not like it. It's solid. It's okay. I dig it. I have no problem drinking this, but I do think the dirty, earthy finish kind of is a bit off-putting for me. I could crush a lot of these, though. I just don't think that if the finish was toned down a little bit and more of that citrus came up and it wasn't as dry, I think I personally enjoy it way more. I could rate it to style. I don't do that typically. I do a couple times, and Chris called me out, so fuck Chris. But also, but I will rate it style. You know why? Because how often are we going to do this? Like, for what I've had, the 2 or 3 that I've had, I think this is nice. It's kind of in like the 4 range, 3.75, 4 range for the style. I've had the Westbrook one, I think was a little bit better style-wise. But this one, I think what they're going for, what a table beer supposed to be, I guess, in this day and age, because it's probably not to what it used to be at 1 or 2%. But 3.25 out of 5, it's solid for me. It's okay. It's good. But it's not anything that I'm like super digging or I'm really into. But it's cool to try because this is an obscure style. So how about you, Nick? Sorry for let me mute myself, baby.
Unlike you, I've had the opportunity to have this before. And for some reason, I don't recall getting that big of a note of dirty earthiness in the back. Like it, just like you were saying, like this would be super crushable if it weren't for that earthiness and the lingering finish. Kind of breaks it up from being a like swiggable beer where you can just drown it. But overall, I do like it, but I'm not. Maybe it's because I'm drinking this a little warmer. I'm drinking this at about cellar temperature, so like 8 to 12 degrees. I didn't pull it right out of the fridge. There's no condensation coming off of my can like I saw on yours there, Joe.
Yeah, mine was about 20, 25 minutes out of the fridge, so probably like the 50, 55 range. Probably 50-ish.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I don't know how it translates in your
probably
mind.
like 8 degrees, say, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
we don't know. Okay. We don't know what your degrees are on Mars.
I can't do math. Sorry, no conversions.
But overall, I like it. I don't hate it. I drink it again if somebody gave it to me. It's not something I go out of my way again to buy. The last time I had it, I recalled liking a whole lot more than I like it now. But I mean, it's still well made. That's one thing I will give this. This does taste like a very fine quality product. But overall, that earthiness is bugging me. You give it a 3 out of 5.
All right, we're gonna need you to settle down, but we're also okay with that score. No, I think that was what you're saying. It's well made, but I think we might be wrong. Maybe the freshness is playing a factor with that earthiness. I don't know.
Maybe.
But again, I can't speak because I've never had it before.
Maybe the earthiness is like maybe some of the hops are coming off as more sour because of that stale and sour.
Less citrusy and more just different characters. That.
And of course, we're saying this in the same review where we just said, "Oh, the age probably won't matter on this."
Yeah, well, we're hypocrites, so we'll join the crowd. It's good times. So how about you, Lee? Because you've had this plenty of times, clearly. And
yeah, I like this quite a bit. It's probably my favorite beer from these guys. I've had like 2 or 3 of their beers now, and they've all been solid, but just not my thing. Mm-hmm. But this kind of works for me just because I'm a big fan of like I said, like session IPAs and IPLs and stuff like that. I kind of dig. I've been really impressed with that sort of style, and this sort of it doesn't quite fit that style. It's adjacent to that style.
Yeah,
is the best way to say. I like the dirty earthiness in the background of this.
baby.
I mean, come on now, baby.
With pie, baby. We can have
like a dirty and earthy down your throat.
He just like he like shovels dirt into his face hole. That's what he likes.
Listen, baby, I love some fuggles. Fuggles in the back of my throat when we're going down. But yeah, no. For me, that's not a detraction from this. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily make my rating all that much more higher than you guys. I'd probably sit this at about a 3.5, maybe bordering on 3.75, but I will just say 3.5 to split the difference or whatever. No. And I mean, this isn't super amazing. It's not going to blow you away. It's just a really good summer go-to. Nick mentioned probably not best to drink this too warm. This is one you want to have fairly well chilled, just so you can sort of keep away from some of those muddier flavors. Like some people just might not like those. I personally don't give two fucks, but yeah, I like it. 3.5 out of 5.
All right, so 3.5 up from Lee, 3 from Nick, and 3.25 from me. So all in the same, 3 to 3.5. We all think it's solid, okay, but nothing that's going to blow you away. The reason why I asked earlier about the...
sorry.
Yeah, he's got the 3D glasses out, baby. This is Nick.
Okay, Nick, does it work?
Does it work?
I'll have to clean the lids. I just pulled this out of a bookcase.
Yeah, I just pulled this out of a bookcase.
Yeah.
I feel like muting him, but I won't. No, but I think that's why I wanted to know what the hops were, because I don't know if they might be using some English hops. They might be using a combination of American and English hops. Because now that you mention it, this has quite a few English qualities to the taste, like the dryness and the earthiness. Mm-hmm. If they were like, the Fuggles is in here, or East Kent Golding or something, I would be like, yeah, totally. And I'd get that. But when they're talking about citrusy and stuff, I don't. They probably are using maybe older American hops. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like Cascade was in here, or Centennial or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's not a bad beer. And again, we are not well versed in the style just because the style is so obscure in North America. So I would like to see what is like a top tier table beer, but because it is a rarity nowadays, I don't think you're really going to see too many of them. So you get what you can get. And that's the cool thing and I really appreciate Lee sending this to me and Nick picking it up, because it's cool to try something that is an obscure style and review it, because you don't get that many, and it's fun. It's fun to try different styles that you haven't had before. So we'll go to comments and then we'll finish it up here. Craig says it's a bit Dusty Roads earthy, baby.
That's right.
Dusty,
let
baby.
it dust in that road, baby.
Mm-hmm. And Greg shows up in his, proper self of trolling me, but also in a terrible way. Where's your uniform? This review is useless without Bylog. No, this is infinitely better without you, Greg. That's how every single video goes when you're not present. He also says, why are you wearing a Nike shirt? Do you even lift, bro? I wasn't aware that if you wore a Nike shirt that you have to lift, but I'll keep that in mind.
No, it's a Reebok shirt.
Yeah, no, this is an Adidas shirt. Sorry. Earth says, I have a boot with a steel toe in it.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Good to know. If I need you to give someone a boot fucking for me, I'll know who to call.
Earth would be the guy to call.
Mm-hmm.
He's the entire planet for sure. Greg also says Lee is the only thing giving this review any kind of credibility. That's true.
But you're not a great judge of credibility, so
that's true. He's fucking Greg, right? Terrible human being. Stoneyard says, like a good potato. That's actually a good tasting note. It has like an earthiness, not like starchy, but it has the earthiness you would get like of having a fresh potato. Like on the outside.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, like or any kind of really fresh root vegetable you pull out, like fresh. It has the dirt on it and whatnot. I kind of like that, but not as intense as you would get if you just ate that raw. Greg says, Nick the Nerd, bookcase in his rack of old 3D hustlers. Yeah. I only say that because that's probably about 98% accurate.
No, it's my rack. Shut up.
Ashley Sexton shows up just in the nick of time, and he says, sorry, I had to do a Craig pun. I'm sorry, I had to. Ashley says, yeah, table beers are a fun style. Maybe we can get Greg somehow or some low ABV table beer so he can stay awake for a change. I agree. Just give everything sub 4% to Greg at the fest and at the bottle share, and just make sure his eyes are open and he doesn't say anything that would get anybody in trouble.
Radlers and table beers and gozes. Oh my.
Yeah, or we could just tie him up and hide him somewhere so he doesn't F up all of our reviews. That'd be fun.
Yeah. We just have some
Maybe
pretend to do reviews somewhere else.
Or you could just give him like a pitcher of water and dump one Coors Light into it or something.
Yeah, Greg says he'll fall asleep with water. Is that what you're calling your 11% Imperial Stouts, buddy? So yeah, thanks for everyone for commenting. We had, I think, like 12 people watching at one point, which is pretty sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. Not quite Rajay. We didn't have the influx of Germans to come and try to get crazy, but we appreciate everybody stopping by.
We're not one of the. You're not one of the top 50 wine tubers on YouTube, anyway.
Not yet. That's my next goal, getting that top 50 without reviewing any wine ever. Like that's what I want to do with my channel. But I do appreciate everyone stopping by, commenting, and viewing the video. And I also want to thank Lee for showing up again. That's 2 reviews in a single night, baby. Oh my God, so excited.
You finally made it, Joe.
Yeah. I'd settled down. But Lee, so plug your podcast again if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but it's a separate video. So if you want to plug it, go ahead. Links will be in the description and stuff.
If you like to listen to assholes like myself, that includes Daniel Harper and Paul Romali talk about movies. TMBDOS.podbean.com, and you can find all our shit there. And also just on my YouTube channel, when I'm bothered to do it, I put up the YouTube versions of the podcast as well. So if you want to look at still pictures and listen to audio on YouTube, then that's your kink or whatever. We're there for you, baby. We'll fulfill your sexual desires.
Oh, baby. And all the links are in the description to his Podbean, to the iTunes, and to the YouTube channel for Lee. So if you are curious, all you have to do is click just one time on this in the description. You're good to go. Mm-hmm. So how about you, Nick? Plug your channel. What you got going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, we Maxwell Starr's beer review just finally turned 7 last month. It's the best beer tube channel on YouTube that nobody watches. Although a lot of people do come over and watch whenever we do our weekly show of Beer Analysis 101, where we've had Joe and Lee on the show before, checking out the same beer, as long as it is something we can all get. And generally turns out to be a pretty good show. So, and of course, next week, we're going on the 10th, so there will be lots of reviews coming up from that. I'm sure Joe's going to post some stuff. Lee won't be posting that kind of stuff because he doesn't do BeerTube anymore, but we kind of wish he did sometimes.
Maybe he's retired. He's
retired, David.
Maybe he's retired. He's done. Yeah. So, like I said, in the description, both Lee's channel on YouTube, Nick's channel on YouTube, and then the Podbean and iTunes for Lee's podcast. Check them both out. They do great stuff. If you do like the movie podcast, Lee does a great job. If you like beer reviews, don't watch Nick's channel. It's terrible. No, I actually do. Check it out. He does some cool stuff. He has a tendency to sit on reviews for years, like literally years. It happens. And beer. But you know what? He's a busy man. He has like 7,000 different cameras. And I mean, he does what he does. But yeah, so keep an eye out on Nick's channel and my channel in the coming weeks. We'll probably have a lot of footage from the aforementioned Albino Rhino Beer Fest and the bottle share we're doing the night before. A lot of different and unique brews that people are bringing from all over, and we should have some fest content that's going to be a shit show, I'd imagine. Mm-hmm. But it'll be fun to watch because you'll see Greg with one eye open, maybe both eyes closed. Who knows? We'll see how drunk he gets, and ruining every single review that we're trying to do. So you'll see that. It'll be... Yeah, the struggle's real. Maybe not as the struggle that Redbeard deals with every single day as an oppressed ginger, but it's going to be a struggle nonetheless.
He's just like a dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Redbeard, he didn't mean it. Maybe a bit, but no, shout out to Redbeard.
Redheadedness is the new dog, right? So it's
Redbeard has some stories to tell us, but I don't want to hear
I mean, thanks for having me on, Joe. I just wanted to say that, and hopefully we'll do more of these, not just out on the 10th, but anytime we can both get the same beer, even if you wanted to come on my channel for something.
Yeah, and keep an eye out. Nick and I are going to do a Bellwood's Beer Satan's Broadsword, which is like this imperial, like pepper and crazy adjunct beer. I don't know if we'll do it on his channel.
Mine. Chilies, lactose, I think, and
like caramel and a couple other things. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Dolce de Liesse. That's what it was.
That's what it is. Yep. And these two should be coming back in another week or two to do the Abyss from Spindrift, which is a black lager, a Schwarzbier. And we're going to definitely do that because we all have cans of it. And I know
Schwarzbier.
Right that's what we're going to be doing. Nick, show it again.
There we go. This is the Spindrift Schwartz beer. They're from Dartmouth, so they're not far away from Two Crows or Propeller or Garrison or any of those.
Spoiler alert, Lee loves the shit out of that beer. So we're going to do that, and we're going to see how it goes. I love
Thanks for fucking ruining it.
I like black lagers, like Silversmith Black Lager, fantastic. Way overpriced, but still fantastic. So anyway, going to close this down. Yeah, we've been running for about a half an hour, so appreciate everybody stopping by. I always say like, comment, subscribe, do whatever the fuck you want. Hit the bell, don't hit the bell, throw the bell in the ocean, doesn't matter, whatever. If you want updates, do whatever you need to do. But I do appreciate everybody watching. I really do, because I have 126 subs, and every single one of them are awesome, except for Redbeard. We'll talk to you guys later. Cheers. I love Redbeard, but maybe not.